I relate to Verstappen more. This man doesn't sleep until 4 a.m. despite the fact having a big race in the morning. I'm going to walk away if I have to sing that again.
Okay, welcome back, folks. And who do we have here?
Hi, everyone. It's been so long.
It's been what, over a year?
And a half, I believe.
A year and a half? And tell us your name again, because I'm sure those guys need reminding.
Hi, my name is Shay, or Shy, depending on who you want to choose. I am now 23 years old. Currently doing whatever life is deciding to do, but right now I'm just enjoying it. And I'm no longer studying psychology. I work for a finance company for the last 6 months until I decided to resign for better work opportunities. But overall, I'm doing great. I'm recovering from everything so far, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so when we talked before, you were studying psychology.
Yes, I was studying
I remember
psychology.
being very nervous about that.
Yeah, I was studying psychology. Actually, what led me to stop, I just decided to just place it in the back burner rather than stopping. Yes, I am stopping, but maybe at some point in the future, I'll go back because it has always been a number one passion of mine to learn and understand the human psyche and everything that comes in between. But overall, because of that decision, I was able to land a job in a finance company. I was able to learn banking, monetary dispositions where your money is moving. So it seems that I also developed a love for finance as well as accounting.
Did you say this was in a call center?
Yes, I actually worked in a call center company for 6 months.
Based here in Ayala?
No, in IT Park.
IT Park,
Yeah,
okay, which of
in
course
IT
is
Park.
a very big area for call centers here in Cebu.
It's a big location. Everyone's there. If you want a company to work for, just go to that location because this is a joke that it seems that everyone understands for Filipinos. If school doesn't work, you go to IT Park for jobs.
Okay, so if you have to drop out of school for any reason, whether it's financial or whatever,
Yeah.
the next move is go to IT Park and get a job in a call center.
Yeah, call center and customer service.
How easy is it to find a job in the call center?
If you're just holding a folder with your resume or resume in general, I think 6 people will flock to you and asking you this one question. Are you looking?
People will what? Will
6 recruiters.
at the same time?
Yeah, will flock to you and say, "Are you looking for a job? Actively looking for a job right now?"
Wait, are you saying 6 people will ask you that same question at the same time?
Yes, and it depends in which company or interest you're targeting with. If you have a specific company that you want to go for, you go to that specific recruiter that is a recruiter for said company.
Just so I'm not misunderstanding, so you're sitting here in an office and there are 6 people there all asking you the same question?
No, when you're walking around in IT Park.
Oh, okay. So it's not all exactly the same time.
Yeah, so
It's over the course of the same visit.
Yeah, unless they are standing in one area, if they see you holding a folder,
Yeah.
they'll just say, and we'll just go randomly approach you and say, "Are you looking for a job?"
Oh, okay.
And
So it's like a vlogger looking for someone to interview.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They're standing around looking for potential call center employees.
Yeah,
and they're obviously getting a commission, I guess, for everyone they recruit.
Commissions. I'm not
So
sure.
they will approach you and say, "Hey, we're looking for somebody to working in a call center. Are you interested?"
Yeah, and you have experience or no? And I'm like,
Okay.
not yet. Back then I would say no, but now I would say, yeah, I have experience is the minimum one.
Now, you did not finish your college, so presumably having a college degree was not a requirement
Yes.
of the call center job.
I mean, what was more focused to call center companies is your ability to speak with people.
And
Your
English in particular,
speaking the English language, learning about computers, which is ironic because I did suggest to my boyfriend back
Yeah.
then that he should try working for the call center for a call center company as a IT
Oh,
support.
yeah.
Since
Did he follow your advice?
not so far. I mean,
Boyfriends never follow.
but honestly, that's an advice for me
Advice.
because if
Yeah.
he wants to expand his opportunities, I would happily give him that advice.
Yeah, yeah.
But
no,
he doesn't
sure.
necessarily need to listen. Not you don't need to necessarily listen. I'll just tell you what I know. Just work
Yeah,
with
no,
me.
that's fair
So
enough. Yeah.
that's what I would tell myself, or I would assure
Okay.
him with. And
Okay, so you did this call center job, but you did not stay there. Like
I
you
didn't.
stayed for how long?
6 months only.
6 months only. So what happened with the call center job? You didn't like it for some reason?
I love the job.
You-
I love the people.
You were talking to people in the U.S., right?
Yeah,
Did you
U.S.
say Central and East Coast? Was that it?
Along with mountain time. I
Mountain?
forgot the other time zone.
So
There
I
were
guess there's
the four of them.
Eastern, there's Mountain,
Yeah,
there's Central,
Central. Yeah.
and Pacific. Is that
Pacific,
it?
yes, Pacific time. So I was talking to 4 time zones at the
Okay.
same time.
So that's the entire United States of America
yeah.
then, yeah?
Whoever's calling in first, I will just say if they want to call me back in a specific time or date, I would just say, "Can I know what time zone you are from?" And
okay.
then I'll just note it down. Okay, if right now is 3 p.m. in let's say Pacific time,
Yeah.
that would be like X time here in the morning in the
Yeah,
Philippines.
sure. Now, I know you're not at liberty to say who you were working for, but
Yeah.
you did say you had a good story about a particular encounter.
Yeah.
And-
So because of my time speaking with multiple customers in the entire 9-hour shift I had, my best customer was actually a man who called in asking for assistance regarding about his account. And after giving him some great updates that everything is looking smooth, and he just wanted to update his contact details because apparently the old ones were it's no longer he's no longer associated with them. So I just updated that.
I'm thinking here, this is a very cool way to let your call center agent know your number in case she might like to call you sometime.
Yeah, and hopefully because I made great connections with my customers, I did wish that I stay in contact with them. But at the same time, company policy states that you're not necessarily allowed to contact them outside of work.
All right.
So only for
I-
business reasons, but
I know I have this experience one because in the U.S. when you call whatever T-Mobile,
Yeah.
whatever it can be any
yeah.
company for customer support, you often end up talking in the Philippines. And as someone who's been here a bit, you always recognize the Filipino accent.
The Filipino
And then
accent.
you'll comment on it and you'll say, "Hey, are you in Cebu or Manila?" And they say, "Oh, how did you know?" Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And,
always
then,
that thing because
and some of them will disclose a little more, but
Yeah.
you can feel the reluctance because I guess
Because-
they're not supposed to.
yeah,
but-
we're not
but-
supposed to say a lot. And
Yeah.
although that you have the customer or the client in question has good intentions, for us, we are placing a liability. And
Uh-huh.
I don't want to, although the information is safe with me or with the company itself, because every company's customer service is recorded, we would get called out if we, would go above and beyond.
Yeah,
for
so
that.
you risk being called out if
yeah,
your
and
behavior is in any way
Yeah.
inappropriate.
yeah, and the customer in question immediately
Yeah,
recognized.
back to your story.
Yeah, the customer in question recognized that I was Filipino because of my accent, and I assumed it was another racist encounter, because normally you would either get a good one or a racist, but I would end up having the racist more. So
Oh.
and he said,
Racist being someone that doesn't want to talk
Yeah,
to you
talk to a
because you're
Filipino.
Filipino. They think you
Yeah.
don't speak English.
Yeah, that's the
So-
thing I don't like, because although we don't necessarily have Filipinos get a bad rap,
What language are we speaking now?
English.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, what? Why are you not? I mean, I'm helping you either way, but if you're gonna look for someone else, go ahead. It's not my problem anymore. That's your problem.
Yeah.
This guy was so giddy. He was like, oh my God, I love your pancit, your lumpia. And I'm like,
Oh.
oh, really? You
Oh,
do?
this is a positive
And-
one. Okay.
Yeah, and randomly, it surprised me because this man ended up saying, like a lot of, like he was speaking a bit of Tagalog, and it surprised me because normally I would just hear like, mabuhay, like that's
Yeah,
because
just
it's a
hello.
international thing, very universal thing you would say in the Philippines, mabuhay.
Yeah.
But to him, he was like speaking more, so I was like, okay. And he was a former military man in Clark Air Base and Subic. So when I immediately recognized that because those are the hot spots back in I think in the 60s, 70s, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was a much heavier presence
Yeah,
then.
it was there was more
American presence, military
American
presence.
presence here in the Philippines when it came to the military. And I'm not sure what year he was, but it did surprise me that,
Okay.
that he understood.
So you had a nice conversation
Yeah, I
with
had a
them.
nice conversation with him, and ironically, he was one of the last few customers I assisted before I decided to leave the company
quit.
for a better, work opportunity and just to focus on myself
Okay.
as well.
Okay, so what have you done then since you quit the call center job? What next?
I've been recovering physically because working a night shift job.
The
is
call center
honestly-
job was
yeah,
night shift, yeah. So you were up all
so
night.
It's detrimental.
Maybe not sleeping enough during the
Yeah,
day,
I'm
or
not
did you?
sleeping enough
have
during
issues
the
with
day,
that?
even
Yeah.
though I would want to rest at night, more rather in the morning when I arrive from work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your body decides it's not enough. I
Yeah.
need to do some hobbies.
Or your family decide you
Yeah.
need to go and do something, or your
Yeah,
boyfriend
or-
wants you to go for
Yeah.
a walk or something.
I
whatever.
mean, when it came to my relationship, when I was still working, I just basically felt exhausted because everyone's saying good morning and I'm just saying good night.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
felt. And
yeah.
everyone's finished with their day and I'm just starting my day. And
So
it's
you-
already 6 in the evening. It's
So
already
you
eight.
really, bottom line, you suffered from a lack of sleep during
Yes,
that time, and that
lack
took
of
its
sleep.
toll. Yeah.
Lack of sleep, lack of socialization. Even though I was socializing at work, your relationship with your workmates is different with those in your inner circle as a whole.
Yeah,
Because with close friends and family, I would be more inclined to talk with them for hours on end. But if it's a workmate, if it exceeds 6 minutes or 5, I would actively say that I appreciate your presence, but I think I'm done with this conversation right now. And I think to them it's a harsh.
Because you need to be working, or because you've just had enough talking to them? You
I need to
personally
work.
don't. You need to work.
I need to
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I had to work, but I'm also done with the conversation because
Yeah.
it seems like we're not really getting a rapport out of this.
Okay.
You're just talking
Yeah, yeah.
because it's out of obligation.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think I sense that immediately, so
Okay.
I feel bad.
Yeah, sure.
And I think the way I would say it is kind of more harsher because I observe that Filipinos are more inclined to have a more close knit experience with friends.
Mhm.
And then when I tell people, listen, I don't want to talk anymore because I'm just tired, I think they would take it into offense.
Okay,
And-
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if I tell this to an American right now, I think they would understand.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But to some, they would still say
Yeah.
it's kind of a mean thing to say.
Americans are probably a little less sensitive to that. That's
Yeah.
true. A little more
And
realistic.
Because
Yeah.
Filipinos are much more of the close-knit family ties.
Perhaps
and-
more sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, so you finished your call center, you recovered, and what have you been doing since then?
looking for a job.
Looking for a job. Okay. In any particular field?
Still the same, finance, but I
Call
don't mind-
center or finance or both? Or is it?
I wanted to work in finance more, or I can
Yeah.
work in the customer service field. Ironically enough, I also like helping people, like
Uh-huh.
teaching people in the customer service field what to do.
Okay.
So, but
I
unfortunately,
guess being in a call center, you get to help people, and if it's
Yeah, give them
finance
support.
related, you get to talk about
yeah, I can.
finance too. So
Yeah.
perhaps that checks off a few boxes
Yeah,
for
it
you.
checks up a few boxes.
Yeah.
But,
I wanted to ask you, what is a typical, like you're 23 years old,
Yeah.
you're not a graduate. So what would be the typical salary that someone like you might expect in the marketplace?
in the marketplace,
Yeah, in other words, what jobs are available realistically to someone like yourself now? What
It
kind of
may
salaries are
depend.
they offering?
It may depend on what you're actively seeking. Some people are content with working whatever is something that they understand, something they've recognized in a long time. If you're willing to go outside the box, I think most people who are great with speaking with languages, English, or teaching people, they would go to the call center industry or the out because I think that back in the early 90s, my aunt and my mom were the first people to enter the call center agency
Oh, really?
route. If
You
for
come
but
from a family of call center agents
and OFWs.
and OFWs.
So it would not be a surprise to them when I informed that I would also be
Yeah.
working for a call center. They would
Okay.
okay, this is what you should do.
Okay, I'm going to say, can I get back to my question?
Yeah, sure, but
What's the typical?
for the salary
Yeah.
itself, minimum is what I've observed because every company is different. What
Sure.
lowest would go around 13,000
Well,
at
that's
best, or higher
so
than
that-
that.
so let's ballpark $260
Yeah,
per month.
13,000.
13,000 pesos.
Next highest would around the 16 to 18,000.
16 to 18. Okay, so that's 320 to 360
Yeah,
dollars
the
per month.
high ranks, as I would say, let's say financial firms, whether it be that has customer service or a company that works with big Fortune 500 companies,
Mm-hmm.
it would grapple around, I believe the highest that I've noticed is around 20,000 pesos to 32.
20 to 32. Okay, so
1,000
that's
pesos.
400 US dollars to
Mm-hmm.
640 US dollars, that range.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using 50 pesos to the dollar as it's easy to convert.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're closer to 58 pesos.
Yes, and
In fact, there was a glitch on Google the other day, just for an hour or so, where Google was reporting the exchange rate to be 66 pesos, I think it was, for
Yeah.
a dollar, but it turned out to be a whole glitch and totally incorrect.
which is bad because I think that it's something that a bigger increase because the U.S. dollar is stronger compared to the Philippine peso
yeah, it's
or
been
peso
getting
currency,
stronger. Yeah.
and that's why people are more inclined to work with call center companies that are based in the U.S.
Yeah, yeah.
And I believe there are a few in IT Park that also work for that are based in Australia.
But you're still paid in pesos,
Yes,
even though you're
pesos,
working for a U.S. company. Your
Yeah.
salary is denominated in pesos.
And
Now,
when you're wondering why it's always goes to that amount, the minimum I've observed, this is when I was still working, was around 22K or 26. People would say 26 is big
yeah,
for someone that's that's living on their own, that doesn't really need a family to support them.
really. They think
But
that's
if you
enough.
have family
Yeah.
support, but if you have family to pay for, it may depend because let's say you're the breadwinner. How many
So if
people
you're a breadwinner and you're supporting your family, then 26,000.
might be a bit less.
Yeah.
Or if you're aiming for something higher, I think you would go for the Fortune 500 companies that are present in ID Park.
But of course, everyone wants to earn as much as they
Yeah.
can, whether or not they have family. But that's that doesn't mean they always can.
and what
Now, sorry, if you have something else to say,
Yeah,
say it, and then I'm going to turn to another
sure.
subject.
And then another thing is that entering a Fortune 500 company that's based in the Philippines is difficult as well. Because I believe I think this is just conspiracy theories, as many would say, but I think nepotism is involved.
Nepotism?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So that's one of the things
So if
that
you're a
people
friend of
would
the
say.
owner or the manager or whatever.
Yeah, I think nepotism also has its perks, but
Yeah.
not everyone has that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just sad, but it may depend.
That's reality, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
certainly no surprise.
Yeah, it's no surprise.
Okay, let's do a U-turn, or at least, well, actually, a U-turn is very appropriate, except they don't have many U-turns in Formula One. But if you watched our previous interview, which I will link somewhere here or below, you may remember that Shy, aka Shay, has a big interest in Formula One. So, did you get to watch many Formula One races this past season?
I did see a few races, but not as extensive. I only know the behind the scenes ones, which is, I think this is very relatable with
Yeah.
I relate to Max Verstappen more in this aspect because since I don't have a job, I don't really necessarily need, I'm recovering, so I need to try to sleep early. But this man doesn't sleep until 4 a.m. despite the fact having a big race in the morning. And that's me when I have to be somewhere in the morning and I just don't want to sleep early, even though I have to.
We are, of course, talking about Max Verstappen of Red Bull, who's just been crowned world champion again.
I mean,
But-
I did see his races,
Yeah.
a lot of his races. And
Yeah, there was that incident where some people were criticizing him because he was staying up until, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning doing sim racing. Was it the night before
Night
a
before.
practice or a qualifying or something, or a
yeah,
race?
but
It was a race
I-
weekend.
I think
Yeah.
because of that, to me, whenever, yeah, you're a busy guy, and I think personally, I would be, you know what, I wouldn't sleep early if, I'm the person who wouldn't sleep early if I have to be somewhere the next day.
Yeah,
Because, I just like doing my hobbies. And to me, I think when Verstappen was, doing his sim race, I think that's also him learning the track.
yeah, which he probably knows very well anyway, because
Yeah.
he's been to most of them at this
Yeah.
point, having been in the
And
business
it's
several
basically
years. But
him reviewing the racetrack and what he could apply whenever he's driving to reality, and if it doesn't work with him in the game, then he can just revise it when he's
Yeah.
driving.
And the bottom line is, despite not having the best car this year, I think that's universally acknowledged.
Yeah,
He still ended up world champion
exactly.
because as
It's
a
the skill
constructor,
for me.
Red Bull finished third in the championship, but Max still finished top of the pile in
Yeah.
the driver championship. So
And you can
Yeah.
see that he's doing, he's really working
Yeah.
really hard for his,
so do you have any hopes for next year? For some
I hope he's
changes, right?
I hope he's still there. I'm
Well-
actually rooting for that guy.
Yeah, Max will still be there. Next year, we will see. It may be very competitive. We, of course, have Lewis Hamilton moving over to Ferrari, which was
Yeah.
big news. Poor Carlos Sainz was
Was
thrown out and has ended up with Williams, where he kind of puts on a good appearance and tries to claim he's going to be happy and give it his all, but really it's a major downgrade for him.
yeah,
But that's,
yeah,
you know,
but
everybody loves Carlos.
yeah, he's a funny guy in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just him in interviews that goes, "Oh, my father used to do this." Like, bro would just trauma dump. I think he's the guy that trauma dumps randomly, or was it Max?
I don't know. Funny enough, they both have racing fathers.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen's father was Joss, who still hangs around the paddock a lot and creates a lot of trouble, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But he was a Formula One, not successful, but he was a Formula One driver, which in itself is a success. But Carlos's dad was Carlos Sainz Sr. He did a lot of rallying.
Yeah.
And even recently, in the last, year, he won some major rally at the age of, 60 plus.
Yeah.
was it?
Which is,
Yeah.
surprise because usually when someone tells me that they're 60 and above, I think that's the
There's-
age where they would be slowing down, right?
Ferrari have been very nice to Carlos because at one point in the last couple of weeks, they allowed Carlos and his dad, Carlos Sr., to drive 2 Ferraris, Formula One cars, around the track together. And that was quite cool.
Father and son bonding.
Yeah. And they gave Carlos his first race-winning Ferrari, the actual car. They
Aw.
gave it to him as a present. And they gave him some other Ferrari street car as well. So they're certainly not cutting ties with Carlos. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens in the future.
Honestly, I think that's a great move on Ferrari's part, but anything for good PR, as they say.
Well, my personal opinion, I think it was a horrible move on Ferrari's part, taking
Yeah,
on
for
Lewis
letting him
Hamilton.
go.
Yeah, for letting him go, exactly. But anyway, that remains to be seen. There are those who suggest it was all finance motivated, because when his movement to Ferrari was announced initially, the stock price of Ferrari, race is the symbol in case anyone's wondering, RACE. The stock price climbed by, I've forgotten, maybe 10% or something. And I don't
Yeah,
quote
that's a
me on
big
the
jump
percentage,
for the stock.
which
for
was
the
a massive
stockholders.
increase in the value of Ferrari, the company, like way more than the whatever it was $200-300 million package they had offered Hamilton. Anyway, there we are.
Yeah.
What
I
else do you
mean-
have to say? I'm asking you here about Formula One.
What's been playing in my head since the New Year's is, and
Yeah,
I'm blaming this on my boyfriend,
yeah.
who's very busy in the
Boyfriend's
background.
over there, by the way. I shouldn't point. My girlfriend tells me not to point in the Philippines, so I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, because it's a bad luck thing apparently, or a ghost might bite off your finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So it's my problem if I point, not the other person's.
yeah.
problem,
So you would. This is something I'm derailing again, but this is what I was taught. You have to bite your finger if you accidentally point, like do this,
Oh yeah.
and then
Okay.
you're
And
safe.
then it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're safe from the ghost, as my
Okay.
friend would say.
It's good to know. Now I'm
And
safe from
I
the
blame this on my boyfriend affectionately because I love him. He's such a squishy. I've been with him for the last year now, or the
Uh-huh.
entire year. So
Yeah.
it's the song, the Max Verstappen song.
Oh yeah.
It went do
Can you sing
do
it?
do do, Max Verstappen do 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 do.
You'll have to sing that again.
No, I'm gonna walk away if I have to sing that again.
Huh.
I have more embarrassing songs that I've listened, and this is ironic because I normally listen to songs from the 80s, 90s, mid 2000s, and I think one of my more older ones is the 60s. It's usually hard rock
Uh-huh. Okay. Wow.
or new
Okay.
wave.
Okay, I hate to say this, but we're on 25 minutes. Maybe we'll cut some of this out, but
Yeah, sure.
we're way over time for a typical interview. So much as we would love to continue talking to Shy Shay, Shy Shay, who's not so shy sometimes.
Very just introverted. Maybe maybe after talking to people, you will see me
Claims she's introverted.
crawling under my bed, not the mattress, but under the bed. I will be
ex-psychology student.
ex-psychology
Claims
student.
she's introverted.
Yes, claims who has introversion, but is very open to talking to people once comfortable,
Awesome.
and works in finance
Okay.
formerly.
Okay. And for those of you who are watching, we did one interview over a year ago.
Yeah.
And in the comments afterwards, we decided together that if we got to 911 views based on the Porsche 911, that we would have to have a rematch.
Yes.
So the views went above 1,000. So this is the resulting rematch.
I'd like to thank my grandmother because she was the one who actively told people, if this gets 911 views, she'll go back for another interview with this man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where- We owe this to your grandmother.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I showed this
Next
to
time
my,
you have to bring her.
I showed this to my grandma,
Yeah.
and she was like surprised, like, "This is what you did?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I was just waiting for this guy to show, to upload it because I think it took a while. But I was like, maybe he's busy because
Yeah,
he was
slow.
going somewhere, and
I'm always
and
slow.
then I showed it to my boyfriend. And my grandma ended up showing it to majority of my family members and her church friends. So I ended up, so because of her, we have this rematch.
Oh, so maybe that's where the views came from. Interesting. Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's always showing it off that, my granddaughter got interviewed by an American.
Ah, who's not actually an American.
Yeah, and
I'm Irish, of course, but
really? You're Irish?
you're only discovering this now. Yeah, I'm Irish. I live in America. I live in California, but I'm Irish.
The accent, I was like, I didn't even realize until you just told me right now. I assumed because you're living in America much
Yeah,
longer.
I've been there a long time, yeah.
So
30
you would
years.
lose the accent.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very natural. That's why I was like, I assume you would be American
That's funny.
because you're based in California, right? Davis,
Correct.
California.
Davis, California.
And I was
Exactly.
like-
College town, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this guy's American. But my grandma's normally the one that would say, this is American. Oh, sorry. This
Ah.
guy's American.
Those
But
are
when it came,
Jamo of the
So when
Finger pinching.
so when my but to me I was like, I'm pretty certain this guy isn't, you know, this guy probably has the dual citizenship. That's just me.
Yeah, not yet actually, but that is on the cards for the future.
The cards
Right
for
now,
real.
no. Now I'm still
Hopefully I will get a dual citizenship, but
Yeah.
that will take
So-
a long while until I get some stability.
So, final question: where do you want your dual citizenship to be? Where do you want the other? So you've got Filipino.
Yeah.
Where do you want the second to be?
Hopefully
You can
still,
choose anywhere in the world.
hopefully actually back then I was like praising Europe. I would always Europe's good because you get a lot of opportunities there. That's where majority of my OFW aunties went.
Mhm.
But and if I could, I would go to the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Dutch.
But
Okay.
if I had another choice,
Yeah.
and this is
You only have one choice.
but
Okay. Who's your other choice?
this is just a second option if it works. Monaco.
Monaco. Oh,
One reason, I want to see the races outside. That's just me.
you want to wander around Monaco and run into Max Verstappen?
I
or
just want to see the races.
Lando Norris.
Yeah.
See the races.
I want to see
I've
the
actually
races.
walked around that track a couple of times.
Yeah.
As
My
yeah.
boyfriend, ironically,
Yeah.
I don't know where he went.
I think you
but-
just lost him.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know where he went. He did say that he wanted to drive the Nuremberg Ring since the start.
Oh yeah, the Nürburgring. Yeah. Nürburgring. Say hello to Dave. David.
So
Just so you know, he's for real, folks. You know, she's not making it up.
I'm not making things up,
Okay.
especially when dating. I keep
Yeah.
my men real.
Yeah.
That's just me. But
Very good. Okay. We'll have to-
I love.
yeah.
I mean, his opinion was Germany because
Yeah.
Nürburgring,
Yeah.
and my opinion was either. I actually agreed with him because he loves driving.
Yeah.
I don't have a car,
Yeah.
but I would drive. But I would probably crash said car, probably run over someone cutely with my
No.
with a,
Do
with
you
a
drive motorbike?
no,
No.
I don't.
You're not Filipino.
No, I've been revoked by my Filipino status.
Yeah, I thought all
My-
Filipinos.
My
rode
Filipino
motorbikes.
status has been revoked.
Yeah.
Throw
Okay.
me to the
It's okay.
Pacific Islands then.
We'll give you a Dutch passport instead.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, folks. We have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Run through. Okay.
I'm
Lovely.
guessing-
Lovely to talk again, Shy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been a while. And
Yeah.
ironically, I had another idea.
Yeah. What was that?
A rematch again at some point.
Sure. What's our target views this time?
We already reached
Tell your grandmother.
my grandma. You know what?
Hi, Grandma.
Yes, my grandma.
What's your grandma's name? You have to give her a shout out now.
Shout out to my grandma. Her name's Milagros. She's a church goer. And honestly, the reason why we have this rematch is because she decided to share it with her church friends.
All right.
and
And if we get 10,000 views, Grandma, we'll all go to your church. If we're allowed. We'll visit.
she would definitely do that. Or
Yeah,
I was
okay.
planning to actually do these numbers. So if we get to 1,900 and 1,929
Yeah. What's the
significance.
reason? Yeah. What's the significance of 1929?
So my grandma's birthday is May 29th.
Uh-huh.
My boyfriend's birthday is May 19th. So
Okay.
that's the significance of those two
Okay,
numbers. If
cool.
it reaches to
1929.
1929, then I'll go back for a third rematch.
Cool. Okay. That's,
Hopefully I'm not jobless anymore.
oh yeah. Well, we need you to be jobless so you have time to do the interview, but I'm sure we'll squeeze it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My jobless arc has begun.
Right.
A few
Okay.
months ago.
Thank you, Shy. See you again.
See ya. And thanks for the drink, bro.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Talk soon. Oh yeah, so now it's recording. If you want to say something, we'll make sure the mic's working. Just
Mic test 1, 2, 3. Is it?